All right, well, closely related to that, you've been hearing about the price of cooking gas. Oh, and we had the GCEO of NNPCL put it on the strike by Pengerson last week. That's why we've seen the hike in the price of cooking gas, and everybody's talking about it and praying that their gas will not be exhausted at this time, so they can still hang on for a bit. We've seen cooking gas price increase by 42.86%, according to Financial Derivatives Company, to 25,000 naira because of shortages and that hiccup that we had last week because of strike by Pengerson. I want to talk about this and a whole lot more with manager at Financial Derivatives Company, Dumebi Oluwole, joining us virtually today. Hi, Dumebi. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Ini.
Yeah, I don't know if you're like many people in the office this morning. We're praying, please let my gas last until the next 2 weeks, so I don't have to go looking for how to buy gas, cooking gas. But I mean, it's quite serious. More than 40% increase in the price of cooking gas.
Yes. I mean, first of all, I'm happy I actually bought mine some weeks ago, so I'm very happy about that. But on a more serious note, I would say that this is one of those situations where we've seen how disruptions to supply chains can significantly, impact the domestic markets and have significant implications on living standards. So we have seen the standoff between Pegasan and the Dangote refinery, of which now we know that Dangote is receiving gas supplies, butane supplies as well, to refine, to refine and then produce LPG and then distribute and supply. So the issues that we've seen with the industrial action has clearly had a negative impact on prices, and that's what we're currently seeing right now in the markets. There are expectations that with the truce that we've seen and mediation from the minister, we expect that prices will return to normal. But then again, in the global market, we're also seeing that LNG prices are rising. And so there is that concern as well, regarding how stable prices will be, especially as we head into the festive season. So I guess it's a situation of mixed feelings. But more importantly, it does spotlight the need for us to significantly focus on the consumers whenever we're making decisions, or whenever policies and decisions are made regarding industrial actions and changes that should be made. The concern on ensuring that supply chains are strengthened, are stable, and are consistent to ensure that market disruptions are not this significant is extremely important. So I think that's what I would say regarding the increase in LPG prices.
Yeah, well, obviously, and we hope that it's a permanent solution, even though, well, I heard the Pengerson boss say that if Dangote goes against some of the agreements, then they will just kick in the strike action without any warning. And I mean, look at how many days they went on strike for, and we're suffering the impact even after the strike has been called up. But maybe another interesting thing is what's going on in the oil space. OPEC Plus has increased their output. We're seeing price move one way or the other. Nigeria, on its part, is talking about how they are determined, to increase their own output, which of course is good for revenue. But, one thing that keeps coming to my mind is how can Nigeria increase its output above the quota which OPEC has given to Nigeria? Isn't there something to be sorted out there?
I mean, there is, considering the fact that we do have the capacity to. So I will say that there is a world where that happens, but beyond that, there are conversations to happen within the cartel, for that to actually happen. We've seen other countries within the cartel actually make moves to do such. Even the price leader within the cartel, I think Saudi Arabia did, make some moves around increasing its production almost above, its assigned quota. So clearly what that points to is a world where Nigeria can actually produce above its OPEC quota. Remember, the reason why these quotas exist is to ensure that prices do not significantly decline, and member countries within the cartel are able to still make, a profit, are still able to make significant gains at a reasonable price range within the oil market, right? But then again, you remember, OPEC countries are not the only oil producers, right? There are other countries that are producing oil, and the more we're seeing an increase, especially in Russian oil, the chances that oil prices will continue to decline or remain bearish is high. And now we've seen OPEC countries, ramp up production but are unable to sell because of their quotas. And now that is changing with OPEC increasing its supply, and that's a trend that we think will likely continue in the near term, but of course, very cautiously and conservatively. So yes, I do think that there's a world where Nigeria can increase its oil production because we do have the capacity to. I mean, when you also consider the fact that at an average production so far in the year, about 1.4 million barrels per day, when you look at our latest numbers from the NUPRC, when you add condensates, you see that oil production at Nigeria's crude production really has actually risen to about 1.7 million barrels per day, edging very close to the budget benchmark of 2.06 million barrels per day. So to answer your question, there is that world with OPEC increasing its quota and the chances that they're going to keep increasing, though conservatively, there's that world that Nigeria can actually increase its production and Nigeria's OPEC quota might actually be revised upwards.
Okay, that's interesting, and well, we hope to see that, especially because already in the 2025 target, which is almost ending, we have 2.2 million barrels target. But thank you so much, Manager, Financial Derivatives Company, Dumebi Oluwole, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Let's take a break now. When we come back, we've been talking about the speech, the 65th independence anniversary of Nigeria. But the drivers of all of this are the youths. What's happening to them? Where are their voices? We'll take a bit of that when we come back after this break. Please stay with us.